Hi friends, we are going to discuss expected question for UPSC Mains 2019 GS paper 3. This question is basically from economic. Please note the question. With respect to the recently announced National Electronic Policy, discuss the scope and challenges for economic development under the scheme along with related challenges. So this question it's basically regarding the national electronic policy which has been recently approved by the central government. So they are asking you to write about the various benefits and opportunities for economic development under this scheme, and also the various challenges, the various weaknesses that are standing in the way of implementing this policy. So first you have to structure the answer. Remember, this question is for 250 words, so you'll have to write a long answer. First, structure the question. Start with an introduction, give a brief introduction of what the National Electronic Policy says, then move on to the body of the answer. In the body of the answer, you have to break the question into two. First part is about the opportunities and scope. Second part is about the challenges. And at the end, in the conclusion, you can give your own views about this. What do you think about this? So you can give your own views at the end. So introduction, body of the answer, and conclusion at the end. This is how you have to structure the answer. Maintain a logical flow of points in the answer. Do not repeat the points again and again. Okay, now let's go into the answer. Start with the introduction. Write briefly about the National Electronic Policy. No need to write all the facts and figures, which date it was announced, by whom it was announced, etc. So just write about the gist of the National Electronic Policy which has been announced recently. So National Electronic Policy is basically to tap the manufacturing sector of the economy, especially the electronic sector. Basically, our Indian economy, the chunk of the GDP, the main contribution of GDP comes from the services sector, and the IT sector is one of the major contributors. It contributes nearly around $180 billion each year. Within this IT sector, electronics manufacturing and hardware manufacturing is one of the important domain. But India, it is not very strong as far as electronic hardware manufacturing is concerned. So we are bringing this National Electronic Policy in order to develop this sector. So just give a brief about the National Electronic Policy and then go into the body of the answer. The body of the answer, first discuss the opportunities. So you can list out the various opportunities. First of all, you write about Indian economy. So National Electronic Policy, it will help develop the Indian economy. It will increase the contribution of IT sector to the Indian economy, which is already valued at $180 billion. Generally, you have to remember IT sector. Whenever we speak about IT sector, we always think about the software industry only. But generally, IT sector mainly includes the hardware part also, the electronic manufacturing part also. But in India, as I have said, we are weak as far as electronics manufacturing is concerned. So we are forced to import electronic goods from other countries like mobile phones and other stuff. As a result, we are losing our foreign exchange reserves. And also, this is a burden for us. So you will have to remember this. And then write about employment opportunities. This electronic manufacturing will give a lot of employment, mainly to the educated youth, both the skilled and unskilled youth. When we speak about skilled youth, it will give employment to highly educated people who are domain experts. For example, engineers, researchers, etc. And for semi-skilled and unskilled youth also, it will give lot of employment opportunities. For example, in the electronic manufacturing sector, we have this chip assembly. It is called as the wafer manufacturing or wafer assembly. They will manufacture the electronic chip semiconductors. So this industry, we can employ unskilled youth in the rural areas also. So it can give employment to unskilled youth in large numbers. And then it will give employment to women. Mention about that. Always remember about women. And this will have multiplier effects on the rural economy also, because always when we speak about IT industry, we always think about the urban areas only. We think about cities only. But this electronic manufacturing policy, we can take this to the rural areas. As already seen, we can employ rural youth in large numbers. We can start electronic chip assembly units in the rural areas, especially in states such as northeast areas. This electronic manufacturing is very ideal because the climate in that area, it is very much suitable for the electronic industry there. Then write about exports value, it can be improved. This electronic policy, it will help special economic zones. It will help the electronic hardware technology parks, EHTPs, which are being started all over India. So say that this policy will help these kind of economic units also, these kind of industrial units. And then write about Make in India. This national electronic policy is a very important weapon for boosting or helping the Make in India scheme. It will also help the Skill India mission. Under the Skill India mission, lakhs of youth can be skilled and they can be employed in the electronic manufacturing sector. Write about all these things and write that this will help improve our indigenous research and development, R&D. We need not depend on other countries for import of electronic items. We can manufacture our own electronic items and we can then export them to other countries. So write about all this stuff. And you can go a step further and you can say that on the lines of the Silicon Valley in USA, we can start many incubation centers in India for electronic parks also. So write about all this. We can do extension services. We can create linkages between the MSME industry, academia and the multinational companies. So we can create linkages among all these sectors. So this will boost the Indian economy as a whole. So write about all these in the opportunities first. And then you can go to the challenges. In the challenges, the main challenge in the electronic hardware scheme is that the first challenge is lack of skills in India. So we have to develop our skills first. For that, we can make use of the Digital India's mission. We can make use of the Skill India mission. You can write about all this. Secondly, in India, our patent regime is very weak. So we don't have a proper intellectual property environment here. So even though we are doing research in many areas, especially in the hardware electronic sector, the system of patenting is actually very weak in India. Our researchers, our scientists, they are not easily being, they are able to patent their products and bring them into the market. So you can write this as a challenge. We need a proper intellectual property environment here. You can mention about utility patents. Utility patents is a tool that is given for short term. So this is actually being used by the America. So America actually uses utility patents. So we can make use of utility patents in India also. You can write about this. Secondly, data protection and privacy is a main problem in India. So other countries, they are wary of India. They are thinking that India doesn't have a proper data protection policy. There is not proper infrastructure here. So this is a main challenge which we have to work into. Next challenge is infrastructure is a problem in India. When we started about our software technology park scheme in 1990, still there are many problems associated with it. We don't have a proper internet grid all over India. So we need a proper internet grid. We need a proper infrastructure policy. Only then the electronic hardware scheme will become a success. We take the special economic zones as an example. In the special economic zones, even though there are many IT parks, they are facing a lot of problems. They are facing problems in terms of lack of infrastructure, lack of electricity. So all these are problems. Logistics is a problem. Transport is a problem. So all these are problems. Then the other challenge is the participation of private sector. Big private sector companies, MNCs based in India, they are reluctant to invest in the hardware electronic sectors. They are ready to invest in the software services sector, but they are reluctant to invest lot of money in the hardware sector. You can take the example of Indian companies also. There are many Indian IT services companies which are reluctant to invest, do research and development in the hardware electronic sector. So this is another challenge in India. Next challenge is coordination between various sectors, government, private sector, etc. Next is the research that is being done by the engineers, scientists. They are not being easily brought into the market. So this is another challenge. So you can mention about all this under the challenges. And at the end, you can give your own views. Don't repeat the points that you have mentioned in the body of the answer. You can give your own views. You can probably say that we can take the example of smaller countries like South Korea, etc. They are leaders in the electronic manufacturing sector. We can follow their best practices. We should have synergy between various stakeholders in our economy. We can use the public-private partnership model in India for boosting the electronic hardware sector. We can use the smart cities project. We can use the smart villages projects. We can use all these as tool for implementing and making the national electronic policy a big success in India. So you can mention about all this, and at the end you can just say that this policy should be inclusive. It should benefit all the stakeholders. It should benefit women. It should help the rural people. It should help the rural economy. It should help the youth, both skilled as well as unskilled. So you can finish the answer like this.